final morning on the island, and whilst I'm really sad to be leaving, I am welcoming the disappearance of island girl hair, because my hair, humidity, water doesn't exist. It does not compute. So whilst the rest of the trip will still be humid, at least it won't be in the salty water every day. So hopefully some of the frizz and things will be maintained a bit more. Anyway, I'm gonna go have some breakfast before I have to pack everything up. Rice noodles were back for my last morning water treat, and of course I couldn't go anywhere without my big English breakfast. After brekkie, I had a few hours to kill before the boat came, so I had a little seat in the swinging chair, which was really nice. And then I had to hang some of my stuff out to dry. Unfortunately, not everything dried. I did have to pack some wet clothes. But look at my transport back to the jetty. This was so much better than dragging my suitcase across the sand. That was honestly so much fun and kind of scary. I thought we were going to fall out of that little scooter at one point, but it was so sweet that they did that for me. The manager's really sweet. He's waiting with me for the boat so he can make sure I get on the right boat, which is really nice. I'm so sad to be leaving this place. I'm en route to Georgetown, Penang, the unofficial food capital of Southeast Asia. The boat ride was a little better going back, and I just had to do the hour 20 taxi to the airport. Airport. I am about 6 hours early for my flight. I am starving, so let's go get something to eat while we wait. There weren't many options, but I found this fried chicken place. I ordered some Korean fried chicken. It was delicious but quite spicy. I weighed my bag and we were all set to go. However, there were so many cancelled flights, I was starting to get nervous. I've managed to kill a little bit of time. I've only got 3 hours until my flight, but unfortunately because it is domestic, I can't check in yet, so I'm still waiting. The restaurant that I had dinner at, unfortunately there was a mosquito under the table. My legs have been obliterated. They are so itchy. This is next level. I mean, I got bitten a lot on the island, but not like this. This is not good. Not good. It is so painful. However, I am distracted by all the cancelled flights. It was stressing me out a little bit, but I think they're pretty much all to and from Kuala Lumpur, so I'm not going there. So it's left me a little bit reassured. So while I walk around the airport with no place to be, I thought I'd give a quick review on my accommodation in the Perhentian Islands. So as I'm sure you probably already gathered, I stayed at Georgetown Glamping. Now, they had really good reviews online and it was honestly one of the cheapest options. However, it was my most expensive accommodation for this whole trip. Purely just because of where the islands are, accessibility, limits on accommodation options. They are all just generally really expensive. However, as far as tents go, there were quite a few tent options. That one, from what I saw and what I physically saw there, were the best. They had an actual undercover area. The tent was actually like a 2-room type tent. So the others I saw had no shelter. It was only like a 2-man tent, and I even had like a tap next to mine to wash my feet and things like that before going in, and they had like a restaurant and stuff, so it was a bit more put together than some of the other tents. The only thing I will say is that I did notice some mold on the inside of the tent, and when I say some, I'm probably being a little bit nice. There was a lot. However, I wasn't too worried because I had seen reviews for most camping places that was pretty normal. I think just naturally being such a humid area where it rains pretty much every single day, it's pretty hard to avoid in a tent specifically. So I think probably a little bit unavoidable. I do think efforts could be made probably to wipe it down at least between guests, but maybe they didn't notice, I don't know. But otherwise the staff were honestly stunning, and staying in a tent was absolutely fine. The only thing though is if you're going for a long time or with someone else, I probably wouldn't recommend, purely because going with someone else, like, you're already trying to minimize your own, like, bringing sand into the tent, how hot it is inside the tent, all of those things. And I think for one person that's okay, but when you've got two, that would be really hard. Like, just double the body heat inside, things like that, and just everything got wet. Even my stuff I didn't wear but was just like sitting in my little like packing cells, they're damp. Even this jumper, which I didn't touch once on the island, when I put it on this morning when I got to the airport, wet, like just damp. So I think long term it would have been really annoying, because even all my stuff that I had like tried to hang out and dry, it was all wet. Like, I've got wet stuff in my suitcase, like there was no way around it. So I think, yeah, long term it probably wouldn't be a good option, but for a couple of days it was perfect for one person and I had the best time. Thought I'd grab a quick cookies and cream frappe for dessert. So I've just checked in and dropped my luggage off, which is a big relief. I was sick of wheeling it around everywhere. However, my check-in experience was essentially, if you remember being on the playground in primary school and someone saying, "My friend has a crush on you," is basically the experience that I just had. So that kind of checked in. The guy that was like checking me in, he like said something to his friend, the guy sitting next to him at the check-in counter, and they were whispering and giggling, and I honestly thought it was about my passport photo, because my passport photo is so bad, and honestly if I were to see that and look at me, I would assume it was a fake passport, because it doesn't even look like me, which is a relief because it's terrible. However, the other guy stands up and he goes, "My friend wants to talk to you," and then they both start giggling, and then I don't know, a few things were said back and forth, and then he says, "My friend wants to know if you can go back to Australia with you." I was so flustered that I left my freaking boarding pass at the desk. He had to chase me down to give me my boarding pass because I just left it there. And I'm very ashamed to admit, it is the second time I've left something behind today. I actually left this camera on the counter when I ordered my iced drink before. And I've been really good. I haven't misplaced anything all trip so far, but I've done it twice in the span of like 30 minutes, so it's not looking good. I've noticed a lot of things in Malaysia are based on honesty system. It's so cool. After a grueling 6-hour wait, it was finally time to board the plane, and can you believe it? The seat next to me was free. For a budget airline, Firefly were fantastic. We got snacks and water. When I arrived, it was way busier than I expected, but it was pretty quick to get a taxi anyway. I'm in bed and I just had my first warm shower in quite a few days. It was so nice. What a treat. I'm just planning out my day for tomorrow because I hadn't organized it yet. I got here maybe an hour or so ago. The taxi ride was alright. It was about 30 minutes from the airport. The driver and I, well, he almost got a 4-star rating from me, and I never give out 4 stars. I'm a religious 5-star giver. I'm very generous. However, when I first ordered the taxi, he called me and said, like, "Where are you?" And I explained where I was, like, which door to the airport. And he was just like, "No, I can't go there." And I said, "Okay, well, where do you want me to go?" He said, "You need to cross the road, ask someone where to go for pickup." I said, "Okay, no worries, like, I'll find you, all good." And then I got there, and then I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he was so blunt, and I just don't do blunt, so it's probably just a cultural thing. But he was saying something about can't go there, 500. So I thought maybe it's like a money thing, maybe you have to pay to go there, but then 500 ringgit's like a lot. So I was like, that doesn't make much sense. And then so I asked him, I said, "Oh, were you saying like you have to pay if you go there?" And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry about it." And then we're driving, and I think I said something else to him, and he said, "What?" But like very abruptly, and it just didn't vibe well with me, so we just didn't talk the whole ride. And then when we pulled up, I said, "Oh, thank you very much." Again, he hit me with the "what?" I said, "Oh, I just said thank you very much." And then he smiled and he was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he helped me with my suitcase. He was really lovely. So he got 5 stars in the end, but I thought we were going to be beefing. So there's that. Anyway, I need to get some rest because I have a jam-packed couple of days planned. So good night. Don't worry, I'd never leave you hanging without a room tour. So this is her. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you come back to see what I get up to tomorrow.